This is your Barbados Today Morning News Update for Monday, May 27, 2019. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carol Williams. The government is coming under more fire over its move to compulsory acquire property on Lower Bay Street for the Hyatt Centric Hotel. This time is coming from the Democratic Labour Party, DLP, which is accusing the administration of abuse of power and a gross misuse of legislation. In a statement on the matter, the DLP Vice President, Andrew Worrell, makes specific mention of the Land Acquisition Act under which the property is being acquired and said there are too many unanswered questions.
The glaring question which remains unanswered is, what role or interest does the government have in the Hyatt project? The purpose of the Land Acquisition Act is to authorize the acquisition of land for public purposes. What is the public purpose or interest which the government of Barbados has in the Hyatt project? We learned from the debate that it is the intention of the government to transfer the property to a private developer. They did not say engage the services of a private developer to further develop the property on behalf of the government. How does this qualify as a public purpose? Why is the government using such a restrictive, heavy-handed piece of legislation to act as an intermediary between two private commercial entities?
The DLP Vice President stressed that the party has no objection to the development. However, he says what's concerning is the manner in which the government appears to be trampling on the rights of private citizens. Barbados Labour Party members continued to mark their first year in office by attending church services throughout the island yesterday, but its report card to Barbadians was delayed. The major public meeting, where it was due to report to the people, was pushed back by a week to this coming Sunday. In the meantime, Minister of Maritime Affairs and Blue Economy Kirk Humphrey has been touting their accomplishments.
And I think the government has done exceptionally well. Not just me, I think the government has done exceptionally well. I think the Prime Minister's leadership of the country has been exceptional. I think the Prime Minister's focus on all the issues. I think we were lucky at this stage in our development to have the Prime Minister because she understands what the issues are and that there was a need for us to have people focus on these individual things. So I became Minister of Maritime Affairs and the Blue Economy. And that is a new ministry. And many people, when I became minister, I was with my people and they were like, what is that? You know, most people didn't understand it. I think a year later, people just know now it's about protecting the ocean and making money from it. I think just having that conversation with Barbadians and getting them to understand the need to protect the environment has been important.
Cabinet has approved a new juvenile justice bill. Minister for Home Affairs Edmund Hinkson says the proposed changes will see the country's juvenile justice system brought in line with international best practices. He tells Barbados Today the proposed legislation will focus on the welfare of the child.
A lot of our children who are charged with an offense criminally and who are subsequently found guilty and sentenced to the girls or boys industrial school don't have an attorney at law. Under the new system, you will have the right to an attorney at law. You will have the right to a social worker. You will have the right to a probation officer. You will have the right to a health worker. You will have the right to a religious counselor. You would have the right to access to material, to reading material, adequate exercise, recreational activities, and adequate clothing. So this is a serious attempt to bring a new regime to how you deal with children who are at risk, who have disciplinary problems, and who get into conflict with the law.
Moves are being made to comprehensively preserve data on cropover. At the launch of the First Citizens Digital Big Show tent on the weekend, Minister of Information, Senator Lucille Moore, announced plans to develop a database.
The department, the Government Information Service, which falls under my ministry, created a project that intends to establish physically and virtually an information center which will enhance an archival data unit. And amongst the content of this unit will be audio-visual resources about the evolution of crop over, the tent system, and other aspects of the festival.
In sports, a captain's knock of 75 from 53 balls from Stephanie Taylor and 4 for 14 from Afi Fletcher saw the West Indies women secure a comfortable 64-run victory over Ireland women in the first T20 of the 3-match Hanley Energy T20 International series. It was played at the YMCA Cricket Club in Dublin. Here's what Taylor had to say about the match.
I thought that we were a bit slow off the mark. It was not anything we actually trained on. I thought that the pitch was a bit quicker and a bit difficult at times to judge and adapt. And I think it was important that whosoever is in to stay there and try to work out that situation. And I thought that Brittany played a crucial role there, and then myself and Campbell, who contributed to the total of 140.
Thought it was a good total in the ending that we posted. 139, give them 140 to chase.
Well, in the team meeting we talk about the style of cricket that we want to play, or the brand of cricket we want to play, and it's a good gauge. First game up, but with saying that, that's not the total we would we wanted to post, but it's a good gauge moving forward.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
With just days to go before an amnesty for Venezuelan migrants takes effect in Trinidad and Tobago, the government is providing details about how the system will work. But the scope of the operation appears to have been scaled down, as we hear in this CNC3 News report.
Come next Friday, only 3 locations will offer some hope to thousands of Venezuelan nationals. Now, it's 2 less than the 5 originally announced by government, but from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for a period of 2 weeks, migrants who are in this country, legally or not, will be allowed to register and receive an ID card that legitimizes their immigration status. But National Security Minister Stuart Young warns it's mandatory.
Come the 15th of June, what is going to happen to persons who have not taken part in this registration process is we revert back to the law and the enforcement of the law as it currently stands.
Here's how it will work. A bilingual registration form will be available online to be filled out beforehand. When these nationals turn up at the registration centers, they will be fingerprinted and their information cross-checked against Venezuelan and Interpol databases. Medical checks will also be done. Upon completion, a receipt will be provided for collection of the registration card, which Minister Young says comes with security features. Those cards will not be provided to children 16 and under, though they are mandated to register.
This card is not a get-out-of-jail card. This registration card is not a you are entitled to be in Trinidad and break the law. Even if persons have gone through the registration process, get their registration card, and then engage in criminal activity, again, as a Minister of National Security, I will deport you.
And finally, Iraq's leaders are vowing to stand with Iran after the U.S. ramped up its rhetoric against what it calls the Iranian threat. Iraq's foreign minister made the pledge following talks with his Iranian counterpart. We get the details from Al Jazeera.
If Mohammad Javad Zarif came to Baghdad to clarify where Iraq stands in the ongoing tension between the U.S. and Iran, Iraq's foreign minister seems to have given him an answer.
We are against the unilateral measures taken by the U.S. We are standing by Iran in its position, and God willing, we can play an intermediary role between the parties if necessary.
Iran's foreign minister has proposed signing a non-aggression pact with Gulf neighbors, but Iran says it will take action if necessary.
We will defend ourselves against any efforts for a war with Iran, whether it is a military or economic one that would victimize the Iranian people. We will face it with strength and resistance.
Iran and Iraq have close ties through trade, culture and religion. But Iraq relies on US and foreign troops to combat the threat of ISIL. And it needs foreign investment, especially to develop its oil fields. Iraq has been doing a diplomatic balancing act for years, and some say that puts it in a perfect position to be able to mediate between the United States and Iran. But to do it successfully, like most negotiations, it has to be seen not to take sides.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.pb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. And sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Carol Williams. Have a good day.